What is up, everybody? This is your boy Is Nefarious, and I am here with your Week 3 league report, preseason Week 3. Just so everybody understands, we're not in a regular season yet. In our season 2, this is going to be based on the preseason Week 3. This week, I'm actually going to talk about predictions. So everybody has their own predictions as to where everybody's going to end up in each division. I'll first talk about the NFC predictions this week and go into each team and the key guys to really look at and what are going to be the keys to their success. First, we're going to dive in right into the NFC West, kind of the weaker division in the NFC. If you ask people around the league, the NFC South is really close, but I think the NFC West takes the cake. So you take a look at the predictions I have. I have the Arizona Cardinals winning the division with a 9-7 record. Then I have the San Francisco 49ers with 6-10, ended up in second. Then I have the Seattle Seahawks coming in third with a 4-12 record, and then the Los Angeles Rams topping it all off with 2-14 at the bottom of the list. If you looked last year, I believe the San Francisco 49ers won the division, and I believe they might have been 10-6 or 11-5. They were the winners of the division, and I believe the Seahawks were in second, and then it was the Los Angeles. Actually, I think it was the Arizona Cardinals, then Los Angeles Rams. So I see the Cardinals gooseneck gamer really coming out on top. Well, let's take a look at his team specifically and see exactly what could really help him here. I mean, he doesn't have the greatest team, but he did make a lot of strides. Kyler Murray's up to 78. If he uses him, I think outside the pocket uses him in a run game. He might be very dangerous, but he doesn't want to get too cheesed with it, so he's going to have to limit exactly how much he uses him outside the pocket. But if he could get him going, that's going to be dangerous. He still has David Johnson, who's a good running back. You take a look at his wide receivers, a lot of good young wide receivers here. Jerry Jeudy, Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella, who's got crazy speed, and Hakeem Butler for the red zone. I mean, he's got a lot of good weapons to help out Kyler Murray in the future. You take a look at his tight end. He's got Cameron Brate and Max Williams. Doesn't really have the athletic tight end that could take advantage speed wise. So that could be some place where you see a two tight end set or a tight end set. He might be running or blocking his tight end. You take a look at his offensive line. Nothing really great here. He made a couple picks, I believe. It might have been just the one that we ran into. So you take he picked Trey Adams in the draft. Gonna start right tackle. I mean, they're all low 70 overall. Hopefully they're able to give him enough protection. But we'll see exactly how that pans out. Kyler Murray might have to run for his life and not be in a pocket so much. You take a look at their defense. You start with left end. They brought in Derek Wolfe. I think that's a great signing. Adam Gotsis, they brought in as well. Another good signing. Then they got Tim Jernigan in the middle and Pona Ford. I think he runs a 4-3. But actually, Chandler Jones is on the outside, so he may actually run 3-4. So he's got Gotsis and Derek Wolfe, and then he's got Tim Jernigan in the middle. Then you got Chandler Jones on one end, and you got Camille Carrera, I believe. Speed rusher, he fits the scheme, so he's definitely a speed rusher. And then you got Jordan Hicks in the middle, so the defense is okay. Patrick Peterson is always going to be one of the better corners in the league. He is on the wrong side of 30, but he's got Byron Murphy coming along, Mike Ford. He's got Kendall Vilder and then Trey Brown. I mean, those are two guys he could possibly use content to build up. They seem like one of them could at least be his cornerback one of the future, or a cornerback two right next to Byron Murphy. You take a look at his safety position, Butter Baker and then DJ Swearinger. I mean, he doesn't have anything special. I don't think he has any superstars. Well, he's got Chandler Jones, who's got a superstar ability. He's got reach elite and then strip specialist. But he's got no X factor guy in here, so that's going to be tough. He's going to have to do the most with his team, but I think he can do it. He's in a weaker division, and I think he's growing as a gamer, and I think he could definitely take the division. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Let's take a look real quick at the 49ers. They're going to come in second. He's got some X Factor guys and Richard Sherman and then George Kittle. He didn't use much of George Kittle. I think if he continues to use him, he'll find way more success. Um, but you take a look at his team. He's got a pretty good team. He's got a few athletic running backs. So if he's able to use those two, it could be very dangerous. He moved Jalen Hurts, a running back, as well. So we'll see exactly how his offense looks. He lost a few key guys, including Marquise Goodwin, who had the crazy speed on the outside. But he still has George Kittle and Dante Pettis. But that's going to do it for this division. Let's take a look at the next division, and it's going to be the NFC South. So I have the Falcons taking it, but not as dominant as they were last year. Going up against the NFC East this year, I think it's going to be a little tougher for the Falcons after he went up against Mole in the conference. No, he didn't go up against Mole in the conference championship. I think he lost to Mole in the divisional round. No, he lost to Mole in the conference championship. I'm pretty sure he got I think a Mole barely beat CEO, and then the Falcons ended up beating whoever they played um, in the divisional round. I'm trying to remember exactly how the playoffs played out. But all I know is the NFC East is going to cause some problems. I think he comes away with an 11-5 record instead of a 14-1 or 15-1 or 14-2 record. I see myself going 10-6. And then I see the Carolina Panthers in third at 5-11, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 2-14. I just think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't have much to use. I mean, he's signed a lot of good guys, but I don't think he's got a lot to work with. He's definitely in a rough place with that team, and it's a team that he's got to build up. And hopefully, this season and next season, it starts to come together a little bit. Hopefully, the rookies that he get some great development traits, and that really helps. The Panthers. I mean, JT's a good user, but you never know which JT you're going to get. Either JT that's working on all the draft classes, or you're going to get JT that's focused and actually playing. We'll see exactly what he gets. That's why I got him at 5-11. You never know. Let's take a look at the Atlanta Falcons, though. They still got a lot of core guys. Julio Jones. I know they're in a lot of cap trouble, so Julio Jones is their wide receiver one. I mean, he's a monster. 97 overall, so he's going to be a problem. 92 speed, so he hasn't lost a step. Then you got Deion Jones in the middle. You still got Matt Ryan. He hasn't fully regressed. He's at an 84, not the greatest, but it's still pretty good. KJ Costello he drafted, so we'll see exactly what kind of development trait he gets. He got a superstar last Madden for us. Let's see if he gets one again. Ito Smith's going to be one key to his whole game. I mean, Ito Smith was really nasty for him last season, and if he wants to be successful this season, I think he's going to have to be just as nasty as he was before. You take a look at his wide receiver position. He's got Julio Jones, as I said, but then you got Calvin Ridley, who's got great speed, and he's an 83 overall. Could be even better moving forward. He's only a star right now, but if he gets some good games under his belt, I think he can get bumped up to a superstar. And then, if he keeps getting bumped up, Calvin Ridley is a great wide receiver, so I could see him, being one of those. Hey, you started with star, but by the end of the franchise, you're a superstar X because you got that good athleticism and what users really use to abuse other defenses. So Calvin really could end up really good. I think he'll be a key, along with Julio Jones and Ito Smith. Mainly Ito Smith. I don't think the wide receivers are going to be as important. I think that run game was really good for him last year. He got Chase Claypool out of the draft. Nothing really fancy there. Take a look. He's got Austin Hooper as his tight end. Pretty good tight end. Not crazy athletic, but he does get the job done. You take a look at his offensive line. He's got a pretty solid offensive line. A couple big holes in right tackle. Right guard could even be a hole in left guard. So he's got a strong left tackle and a strong center, though. This might be a place that you look at if you're playing the Falcons. Try to take advantage of that right tackle. Um, Take advantage of one of the weaker offensive linemen. He doesn't really have much outside of the center and the left tackle. Let's take a look at his defense. I do, like I was talking about in the offseason league report. I do love Julian Aquara. Looks like he's going to be really good. Great speed, great acceleration, good size, great finesse move at 80. So he's going to be tough. Definitely have to pay attention to him on the edge. And then he's got Takaris McKinley on the other end. Grady Jarrett's still a really good player. The defense is really good. He's kind of hurting on the outside linebacker, left outside linebacker, but I believe he'll use Forsaid or whatever his name is here. I think he might use him as that left outside linebacker. So he's got a pretty athletic group of linebackers. He might even use Nigel Bradham. But the defense is really good, I think. Uh, he's got some young guys too. Desmond Trufant, though, is getting older, so you might want to look at somebody to replace him. Sean Wade could be that guy if he gets the development trait, but he's got a good defense. Like I said, I see him going 11-5, not as dominant, but I do see him winning the division anyway. Let's take a look at the NFC North, one of the tougher divisions. I got the Chicago Bears ended up in first at 14-2. I got the Minnesota Vikings coming in second at 12-4, and then I got the Detroit Lions coming in third at 9-7. And then I got the Green Bay Packers coming in last at 6-10. Kind of like last season, I believe this was the exact not results, but the exact layout. Bears in first, Vikings in second, Lions in third, Packers in fourth. But I believe the Packers are like 3-13 or 2-14. So hopefully, I think they'll have a better year. We'll see exactly how engaged he is into PML. Wooka was a good user in Madden 19. Hasn't really put it together yet. Hopefully, this is the season where he puts it together and adds another competitor. But I'm going off kind of last year, and really I'm kind of mixing it last year and hoping that he comes back to reality. I see 6 wins for him. But the Bears, like I said, I don't think he's gonna be 16-0, but I think he'll be 14-2 at a minimum. Even 15-1 and 16-0 are a possibility with Mole, but 14-2 is the minimum, I believe. CEO is a great user, so I think he'll have a really good year. And mainly his losses will probably one to the Lions, and he'll split the Lions 1-1, but he'll sweep against the Chicago Bears. He'll get swept against the Chicago Bears, but I'm not quite sure. You never know with Madden. You never know with this season with Mole with his promotion. You never know if it becomes too much. But this is my prediction for it. Let's take a look at the Bears and see exactly what he's got going right and what he doesn't. You take a look at the roster if it loads. I hope franchise, and it does kick me out. It did kick me out. Let's see if I can get back in. They said they're working on it. Let's see if nope, I can't get back in, so I can't really talk about each team individually and go through their roster anymore. So we'll wing it a little bit. The Bears roster, you got a lot of good guys, especially on that defensive side. Khalil Mack absolutely destroyed the league in sacks. Then you got Tariq Cohen on offense, who led the league in rushing, broke the rushing record like twice over. It might have. He might have reached 4,000. I'm not even sure. I gotta go look back, but he absolutely smashed the record. Then you got Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel. Not really a factor. If you play Mole, I guess your hope is to stop Tariq Cohen and force him to pass. And if he beats you with a pass, then tip your hat to him. He beat you with the pass, but make him pass the ball. That's my judgment on that. Defensively, he's got everything. Eddie Jackson in the back end, Kyler Fuller, Kyle Fuller, who was absolutely nasty last year, and he kind of fed off Khalil Mack because Khalil Mack would force so much pressure that you're making bad reads, bad throws, and Kyle Fuller is just, picking up his scraps pretty much. So that's what I got for the NFC North. Let's take a look at the NFC East. Last but not least, I got the New York Giants going 12-4 and ending up in first. The Washington Redskins going 12-4, tied with the Giants, but ended up in second. I see them losing the division record to the New York Giants. Then you got the Dallas Cowboys. I see going 10-6, and then the Philadelphia Eagles at 8-8. So I see this division being really strong. Maybe even one 500 team or 500 and under. If that's the case, I think the Philadelphia Eagles might be that team. Even though the Cowboys were terrible last season, I think he'll have a better season this year, a little more focus, and he kind of knows what's coming, so maybe he'll be a little more prepared. When you think about the Giants, he's pretty much got nothing to work with. Kind of like the Washington Redskins. The two worst off teams in this division are going to end up in first and second in my eyes. They're the two better users. I think everybody in this division is a really good user, just like the NFC North. But I think Natural and Stars are just above and beyond, if that makes sense. They're just really good at what they do. So I see them two being a tie, and it'll come down to the division record in the end. Neither really got much to work with, like I said. You think about the Giants, he does have Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram. He's got no corners. He's got no depth in the defense. That's the one downfall to his team. He's going to have to coach him up on defense, and I think he's got all the weapons offensively to really have a good season. So, if anything, he coaches them up on defense, and the offense does enough to get the wins, even though his defense can't really stop that many people. That many good users. If a good user is playing, they should be able to take advantage of that defense. You take a look at the Washington Redskins. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who they got. He's got Bryce Love that he wants to include in his offense. A very athletic running back. If he gets going and he's able to get Bryce Love going, he could be extra dangerous. He could actually end up taking the division if Bryce Love gets going, because he had Darius Geis, but he couldn't really do much damage with Geis. So hopefully Bryce Love gives him what he needs as far as that running game. But you think about the defense, he's got Montez Sweat, Matthew Ioannidis, who had a lot of sacks as well. I believe he was second in the league in sacks behind Khalil Mack, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But I think he's got a lot to work with, a lot of young guys to work with. But I think the key to him is going to be Bryce Love and getting that run game going. But that's pretty much going to do it for this episode of the League Report. Wish I could have really deep dived into those teams, but as I said, I got kicked out because they're still working on the servers. But that's gonna do it for this video. Next week's video, I'll talk about the AFC and their outlook and their predictions. So hopefully y'all tune in and tell me what you think. Thanks.